the hell is in charge of Doggy or Doge, as they say? Like, who runs Doggy? This is the big question that everyone's asking, including people on Fox News. Take a look, Paris.
It seems there's being a lot made of what Elon Musk's role is actually at DOGE. The president has introduced him as the head of DOGE multiple times in interviews. Yet there's this affidavit that we've been able to get our hands on here that the press has as well. That it contradicts the White House claim that he's the head of DOGE. This affidavit actually says he doesn't work for DOGE at all. Reading directly from it, it says Musk is not an employee of the U.S. DOGE service or the U.S. DOGE service temporary organization. That's according to the director of the White House's Office of Administration. So what is his role at DOGE?
Sure, I'm happy to clarify. Elon Musk is a special government employee here at the White House, serving at the direction of the President of the United States, Donald Trump. Elon Musk has been tasked with overseeing DOGE on behalf of the President. And DOGE employees, DOGE folks have been onboarding at respective agencies across our federal bureaucracy as political appointees, just like any other political appointee gets on board with the new administration with the changing of hands, and those individuals are helping the secretaries at all of our agencies that have been nominated and confirmed by President Trump in the United States Senate.
Okay, wait, Karoline. But Elon has not been nominated nor confirmed. So you explaining how that works, it doesn't square. And then okay, the president gets to appoint, staffers, and they're immediate staff. But if it's an agency, if it's a federal agency responsible for overseeing waste or efficiency, whatever the hell, that's a nomination process. But Paris, maybe you understand how this works better than, I don't know, Karoline Leavitt, the press secretary there, but it seems like basically there's two messages coming out of the White House. Elon's not in charge of DOGE. Stephen Miller was saying, no, the president is. But nobody actually knows what Elon's role officially is. Special government employee is a title. Mm-hmm. You can hold it for 130 days, apparently, at which point, I mean, I don't know, does DOGE just disappear? Our work here is done. What? So what is going on? And do we also think that they don't know what's going on?
Maybe, yeah. And I think DOGE is supposed to release some report in July of 2026 or something, I think it is. So that's well past 130 days or, whatnot. I would imagine it has something more to do with Elon Musk's status and making sure that, whatever requirements are necessary for these different government positions, that special government employee, I would imagine, puts, very lenient expectations on someone like him. Right. My understanding as well is that, I was speaking to some people about this, and apparently the takeover of the U.S. digital service, and, on day one of Trump's administration, he signed this executive order that took over the U.S. digital service and renamed it the U.S. DOGE service. To allow it to operate in this way. But my understanding is that where that's under the executive branch and the way that it's set up, it allows them to bring people in who are more volunteer, who are able to have these different statuses than a regular government employee. That makes it a lot easier for them to kind of fill this thing out really quickly, not go through the regular hiring processes. And yeah, to be
but it also just seems like doing. Yeah, and it seems like they want to get away with Elon being in charge of this without him actually having to be confirmed to anything official. And there is no one above Elon, let's be real. And yet they also want to make it seems like there's some friction. They also want to make it look like it's Trump's idea. Trump is the one who's guiding this, which we all know as a man who has to do a joint interview with Elon Musk on Sean Hannity. My man's not in control. My man's not even in control of his bowels. He cannot do anything at this point.
Maybe they consult every now and then, but
him and his bowels?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
We're gonna hold it. So now, Paris, you've been tracking Elon for years now, and so and it's very clear that Elon is absolutely in charge because of how Doge or Doggy is being run. Things like tweeting out, Doge is looking for help from the general public. Please DM insight for reducing waste, fraud, and abuse, along with any helpful insights or awesome ideas to the relevant Doge affiliates found on the affiliates tab. For example, Doge underscore USDA, Doge underscore. It's like, not only is this so dumb, but that is terrifying. Doge underscore USDA. Wait. Are you creating a shadow government to like step in where all these other agencies that you're hollowing out, people are being fired at record pace? Now it's Doge USDA, Doge USAID. And then it goes on, of course, is that they have their savings website. So you said July 2026, which is like, that's so long from now.
I think that's what the date is. Yeah.
It doesn't, I don't give a shit, man. They're not gonna find any of it anyway. So this is the website, which if you didn't know, at the top it says an official website of the United States government, because every official website of the US government always has a little banner that tells you it's official. And this is according to, this is actually from the exact website. And this is like, let's balance the budget together. And they kind of like go, place by place. 404 magazine found that actually doge.gov is incredibly insecure as a website, and that anyone can push updates to it. I guess, people obviously far smarter than me were just like, oh no, this is not secure. It's like, now it's basically Wikipedia. Like, I could just edit this myself.
Yeah, you got a bunch of these tech people and they can't even make a secure website, apparently, for their fake agency, or I guess a real agency now. I think when you think about, the larger impact of what is going on here and the control that Elon Musk has, it's not even that, he is not kind of like going line by line through everything that's happening in these different agencies. The reporting that we have suggests that he is bringing in a ton of people from his orbit and his sphere in order to do his bidding, right? Someone from Boring Company, one of the chief executives there, who was very essential to the takeover of Twitter as well, and kind of, the dismantling of Twitter and the firing of all those people, is one of the chief people that they have in there. And of course, we get these constant stories about how they are increasingly kind of entering into these different parts of the US government. It seems like every day they're accessing, something new, and kind of putting in one of these people from an Elon Musk company, or from Palantir, or some company that Peter Thiel has invested in. These people who are in this kind of tech orbit, that I would assume agree with Elon Musk and these right-wing tech people on a lot of different things, and are being unleashed as part of this mission, not just to gut the US government, but to really remake it in the way that they want to see it. And I think one of the most worrying things is to increasingly see how much sensitive data that they have access to. It's like any privacy rules or legislation that the United States has seems out the window altogether. And these people are just getting their hands in everything. We don't know exactly what they're doing with it. And it's hard to say, when we will know exactly what is actually going on there.
Oh, there's more. I always have you on for sort of the macro, and I want to dig into that more, but like, we got to lay it out. And to your point, like, there are people who are supporting what Elon is doing and supporting the people that are in Doge. One of the people, again, we know that a guy who was like, let's normalize Indian hate, that guy was rehired as part of one of the lackeys that you're talking about, who he's hiring, just his sycophants. Another guy is this guy named Gavin Kleger, who basically published a Substack praising a guy named Ron Unz. Ron Unz is infamous for wanting to make English the national language. And he wrote something called Our American Pravda. It's published on his website, the Unz Review, that includes striking comments denying the Holocaust, questioning 9/11, and engaging in anti-Black racism. Kleger before also reposted white nationalist Nick Fuentes, disparaging a Black child. He's also called Secretary of State Hillary Clinton a slur, demanded public military tribunals and executions of undocumented migrants who commit crimes. So these are the kinds of people who are now getting access to our IRS information, right? Our tax returns, like this ilk of folks. And yet somehow we're kind of in this dance, right, Paris, where it's like so much media, including like Reuters, right, which, you know, is its own like very conservative outlet, but is saying like calling DOGE, you know, in an effort to reduce waste, right, in sort of like parroting the line that Elon and Trump are sending out there. But like we're in this moment of like, are they going after waste, or is this ideological? Now we know it's ideological.
Absolutely.
But the way it's being presented to the public is still, no, it's going after waste. And I just have to play this for you, because this is the kind of like bending over backwards hoops that Fox News, for example, is engaging in to excuse what Elon is doing.
Elon Musk had access to all that stuff when he was running PayPal.
Right. And also,
and if you're going to trust anybody with rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse, wouldn't you want it to be a guy who really doesn't need your money?
right, right.
He's so rich.
Yeah.
He doesn't even want money. Oh my God. He doesn't even want money. If there's one thing about Elon's like trajectory, it's like, wow, this guy doesn't even want more money.
Never. It's
Never
not
done
like
it.
he justifies the accumulation of wealth and, you know, not investing in social programs and stuff because we need it to go to Mars or some bullshit like that. Like this is his whole thing, right?
Yep.
It's funny to hear that guy like explicitly reference PayPal as well, to be like, see, you know, we can trust Elon Musk to have all this access to sensitive information and to take on fraud and abuse, when Elon was ejected from that company because he was doing such a poor job of managing it. And the employees went to the board while he went on his honeymoon and were like, you need to get this guy out of here or he is going to run the company into the ground. And, you know, the only reason why he became the big thing that he did later is because he still owned a huge chunk of the company. So when eBay bought it, he had all this money to put into SpaceX and Tesla to, you know, build the reputation that he had until recently.
My God. Yeah, exactly. And because one of the things, didn't he want to rename it X? He's very obsessed with X.
It was X. Yeah. So he initially started a company called X that was supposed to be an online bank, and Peter Thiel had a company called Confinity, which created PayPal, and those two companies merged, and he tried to rename PayPal, the actual service, into X as well. And all the customers who they were like interviewing about it and being like, what would you think if, you know, PayPal renamed to X? And they were like, then is it explicit? Is it like just for porn? Like they were like so confused.
Yeah.
And he was like, it has to be X because he bought this domain name and loved it. And everyone who used the service was like, this sounds stupid.
Well, I guess I want to explore that with you in a little bit, but there's like the other thing we have to know is like this week they basically fired a bunch of people who work for the National Nuclear Security Administration, which maintains our 3,000 nuclear warheads, supervises new nuclear warheads, has a $25 billion annual budget, and around 2,000 directly hired employees who manage more than 55,000 contractors that play an integral part in warhead production and maintenance. Last Thursday, 300 probationary employees of the Nuclear Security Agency were fired. Fewer than 50 people at the agency had been fired, and most had administrative and clerical roles. But on Friday night, at least some of the laid-off staff members at the agency were told to come back to their jobs. A person said on the condition of anonymity, in part because Paris, I don't know, like being like a global hegemon is just like so much work. Being like having all these nuclear warheads, we're like, oh my God, when can we drop them on a, brown nation? We have to update our nuclear arsenal because you can't just let nuclear warheads sit there. So there was like, and I think a couple years ago, massive infusion of money to do that, which I think is dumb, but like, you at least have to maintain them. So it does feel very Elon-like. I remember at Twitter, it was like he fired a bunch of people who were integral to how Twitter even functioned, then was like, oh, crap, and then rehired them.
Please come back. Yeah.
Except
They're
now
doing
it's
the
our
same thing as the
nuclear
government.
warheads.
Yeah. And there was another agency too recently. I can't remember which one it was, where one of the media organizations interviewed a bunch of people who were fired from their jobs. And they were like, they fired people who were considered probationary employees, assuming that meant that they were like all new hires. But anyone who recently had a promotion also counts as probationary, so that you can, like, within the system, move them back to their previous role if it doesn't work out or whatever. Right. So they also fired all these like very like been at the agency for 25 years, know exactly what they're doing kind of people, because they assume that anyone who's on probation must be like new in the last 30 days.
So stupid. Like, that's just like that. I feel like this is like management 101 of like business management 101. Like, what does probation mean? Right? Like this, it's, oh God.
One of my favorite stories was how they thought that a bunch of people who are like 150 years old are getting Social Security payments, but it's actually just because of the way that the old computer system, who all these new programmers don't actually understand like how it works. So, if there's not a date, it defaults to some date in like the 1800s. So they thought that that meant that all these people who are 150 years old were getting Social Security benefits, when they just didn't understand how the system works.
This is like fucking Y2K all over again. Everyone's like, oh my God. That is so funny. So funny. And of course, it's got Musk's fingerprints all over it. But to your point, yes, other orbiting tech trolls are making excuses for Elon. So it's not just Fox News. It's people like the CEO of Palantir, who you mentioned, which is, can you explain a little bit maybe about what Palantir does? What I know is they're basically like a massive surveillance company that works with like defense contracts and weapons manufacturers and things like this.
Yeah, pretty much they take a lot of the data, if there's like this mass data collection apparatus that like, a lot of surveillance companies would have, that a lot of government agencies like the NSA would have, say the FBI, the CIA, things like that, they're surveilling, they're getting in all this data. They need some way to process that data and to theoretically understand what is going on in it. So Palantir makes these like platforms, these tools that supposedly inject all this data and kind of make it readable, make it understandable to, these various agencies. And as you say, they initially worked with, say, Department of Defense and, particular, intelligence agencies. And
they had like border
that.
Contracts and things like this.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Border contracts. Increasingly, they have been moving out into more like, I guess, what we would consider like civilian use cases or whatnot. So they're trying to get a lot of access to health data. They had a contract with the NHS in the UK that was very controversial. And of course, now they are bidding for contracts with health in the United States and trying to get access to a lot of that health data too.
I didn't want to know all that because now I'm depressed.
Sorry, should have left out that last piece.
Yeah.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do